Hey, welcome to Tellis Like It Is. Something that's really close to my heart for a couple of reasons, and you know what those reasons are. But today is a very special day. As you probably know, on this chat, we get to know the person behind the personality. And today's personality is a radio jock, he's a movie actor, he's a host, but he is funny as... Danish Sait. Say hello to him.
Hello,
everybody. From wherever you are.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me on the show. See, the reason I do multiple things is probably because I'm not good at any one of them. So you got to keep hustling and doing different things.
Yeah.
But the food needs to be at the table. That's important.
Yeah, humility is, is Danish Sait.
Yeah. It reeks.
Ever so humble. You drip humility.
No, and the thing is, see, sometimes you have to also play it that way because you're taught to do that stuff, right? Because I think a lot of the yesteryear actors and personalities have always been very, whatever you've given is what I have. It's very that. So then sometimes you need to kind of do it and then you go back home and you're like...
I'd love to see you make an emotional speech like that.
I can't.
What I am is what you have given me. Come on, Danish.
No, there are people who've come and played that. And I'm very grateful to them in all honesty. And I feel like I've been very lucky that the right people came at the right time. Starting from my school, for example, I found my first hero in the principal of my school.
Oh.
And I credit him till date for the person that I am. I'll call him even now, tell him about the different things that I'm doing in life. And the advice is always, stay focused, do what you do. It's important. Professor M.D. Nanjunda, big influence in my life. Then when I look at my radio career, for example, Darai Soonawala was somebody who hired me at Fever. Then when RCB happened and when Mr. Nags came about and it kind of exploded on the cricket scene because there was no comedy in cricket up until then. There was very serious broadcasting. Nikhil Sosley was there. I'm very grateful to him till date. Then when movies started happening again, there was different people who came along. There's this huge actor, producer, director called Rakshit Shetty. Hemant, Pushkar gave me my first film. I think right people have always come along and said, we'll give you the opportunity that you deserve. Because I think that this whole I'm self-made is... I think slightly overrated because people don't acknowledge the fact that somebody else is putting their neck on the line to give you the opportunity.
Oh, well said. Yeah, I have a question, Danish. I mean, you've traversed, like you just said, it's a great journey. You've done various things and I don't want to sound repetitive.
Yeah.
But how did that happen? Out of design or, were you clear what you wish to do and how you would do it?
Yeah. No, it wasn't designed. It all happened by chance. But when I was in boarding school, for example, I used to be very active in plays, choir, whatever happens on annual days. I was very interested in that. And I went to a boarding school where after 10th, you only had the option to do science in 11th and 12th. So the only combination available was physics, chemistry, maths, biology. And you had to do that if you wanted to be in the boarding school. And I was very happy being there because it was a great place to be. They let you kind of develop all around without just being focused on studies. And all my classmates wrote the common entrance test to get into engineering colleges or medical colleges. I was the only guy who didn't do the CET then because Nanjunda sir told my mother that this guy rather be a failed artist than a mediocre engineer or doctor.
He'd figured that out.
He had figured it out, yeah. So then I realized this is what I want to do. Then of course, I went to college in Coimbatore and I did visual communication there. Made great friends. Really enjoyed my time in Coimbatore. Then when I came back, I started working for an event company for a bit. I worked at an event agency called Phase 1. Om and Gang. And I think that's where the real trigger happened. Because, in events you make these presentations where you have to recommend artists to the client.
Right.
My job was to make those presentations. And every time I would put an artist's name on that presentation, I always felt I need to be on that presentation, not the guy who's putting the presentation together. And around that time, I really don't know how. I genuinely think it is providence or what, I don't know. This radio station in Bahrain called me and said, we're looking for radio jockeys. And somebody said, you speak well. And at that time, I used to do these mall events and Bangalore Central, Garuda Mall. That time you're killing it. You're earning 2,000 rupees on a Saturday, 2,000 on a Sunday. You're like, fuck, I've arrived.
Sorted.
Right? Like 16,000 for a 21-year-old was a fair amount of money. And this radio station called me. They said, we want you to come audition for us. I said, cool. You send me the ticket, visa. I didn't even know where Bahrain was. In fact, even now, if you tell me to find it on the map, I'll probably point somewhere in South America or something. So then I went and they said, do the morning show. We'll test you there. And I had to say, you're listening to Radio Voice 104.2. This is Bahrain or whatever, blah, 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 blah. My name is Danish. With me is this and something, this song for you. I had to say that. To construct that link on radio, I think I took about 15 minutes. I hammed that much. I couldn't construct the sentence together. But again, for some reason, this gentleman called Mr. Uni Krishnan, he saw some potential in me and said, kid, you don't know what you're doing. It's very evident, but I see potential in you. So, stay back. So, I stayed back. They paid me a salary of 600 dinars, which I think was
good salary.
Very, very good money for them. Good man, took care of me. In that 1 year when I was in Bahrain, I started listening to a lot of international radio online. So, the internet's been this constant friend to me. You know, I've done a lot of stuff on the internet. At the same time, the internet's done a lot of stuff for me. So when I started listening to a lot of international radio, I got a hang of it and I was like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do. And I started making giant strides there. And that desire comes, right? All of us want to do better. So then I knew Dubai was the place for radio. And I still think Dubai is the place for radio. If you're doing radio in India, please call somebody in Dubai, go there. It's dying here.
Do you have some numbers?
Not anymore, yeah. I know one guy in Doha. If you want, you can reach out to me and I will connect you with that guy. So then I went to Dubai. When I went to Dubai, I think that's when I was first a part of this media circle. You know, where you're suddenly invited to a party somewhere. You're called to some inauguration of some place. And you have to be there. And yeah, obviously, you're the Z category item because there are more popular people there. But you kind of see the grading. You understand, okay, this is how this place works and this and that. I wasn't very happy in Dubai. In fact, even now when I go there, I love taking a return flight. That's my favorite part of Dubai. Never liked it.
Any person responsible for that deep love for Dubai?
No, nothing. No? I just didn't like the place. Period. That's all. I don't like anything sepia tone, basically. Okay. Like on Instagram, I run away from Jaipur filter also. Like I can't. I don't like that grade only fucks with my head. So I was like, I can't do this. And I think that was when I first also kind of made friends with this beast in my head called mental depression. That's where it happened. So I finished that and then I said, okay, fine, now I need to move back to Bangalore and figure life there. And when I moved to Bangalore, luckily in those 2 years, I had shown some sparks of decent work and Darais absorbed me. Oh, okay. So that's how radio happened for me. And then, of course, I mean, prank calls happened. These prank calls went viral. I mean, I think I was the first person to know what viral meant from that city because it was all over WhatsApp and people were listening to my prank calls.
Was that funny or was that funny?
Yeah, it was very funny. I have to agree.
Give us an incident or two. No, come on,
No, so the first prank call I did was the one where vegetarian was served with chicken Manchurian. That was really funny. Then the other one I did was petrol in a diesel car. That was damn funny. So it just picked up. I realized that the premise is where the trick is. And while I was doing that, I realized that stand-up comedy so much wasn't my scene as much as improv. And I had never heard of improv comedy as an art form until then. And I saw this one ad in the paper saying improv, come and watch us perform and stuff like that. And I went to that show. It was happening at Chowdhury. And this guy called Saad Khan, who also directed my first film, nice guy, he was in the show with a bunch of them. Kenneth Sebastian was on it. Sumuki Suresh joined much later, but Sandeep Rao, a couple of other comedians were on stage. I saw that show and I was in the audience and I had the same moment that I had with making the presentation. I was like, I should be there. So then I hunted them down, I spoke to them and they said, come join us. And I started doing improv, I started doing radio. It was great fun dabbling between the two. And when the prank calls got popular, these corporate companies started throwing money at me. These IT companies, come host our annual day, come host some family day. You know,
I'm imagining Danish hosting family day.
See, I did it. Yeah, now what to do? Everybody has bills to pay and all that stuff. So then you're like, now I'd like to invite MD of the company. He's a great man. Like, I really don't give a fuck. But you had to do it. You got to do it to pay the bills.
That conviction comes through.
The conviction comes through because I think that's why you need to act also. No, sometimes you have to, I don't care, yeah, Miss whatever, Shilpa is going to be dancing from HR department. Who cares, yeah, really? But you have to do it. You have to sell it to that one crowd that's sitting there, because that's how the event industry functions. So then I did a lot of events and I realized after one point it's the same thing. You know, like people call you 3 hours in advance. They'll do like 2 calls before the event. And then you realize, okay, for them it's once a year, for you it's once every day.
Correct.
So then I started respecting that.
What I loved about you is that you, like you said, improv played a large part in everything you did.
Yeah, I think my life itself is a yes and. I've never questioned what's come my way. I've always taken it and taken the story forward. And I think this fundamental got more established for me when I went to study improv in New York.
Okay.
I went to the school called Upright Citizens Brigade. I did about 3 levels there. And I think it's the first time I realized, wow, actually everything that I'm doing in my life, like in general, the way I live my life is yes and. I don't like to sit and, you know, complain over one thing or being stuck in that same rut over and over again. I can't do that.
So I have a take on this, and I've spoken to a fair few people like you who've straddled 5, 6, 7 worlds, and it keeps, you know, you keep upping the ante.
Yeah.
And you know what I've got out of them, and I want to know if that was your scene as well.
Yeah.
While we believe that opportunities come at us, there's a theory, Danish, that we as people tend to want to embrace happiness.
Yeah.
And happiness being defined in what we're good at and what we'd like to do. It could be personal, you know, happiness or achievement, and it could be for greater good or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And what happens is we nurse an aspiration, either evidently or not. And when things like this happen, there's energy and it clicks. Do you believe in that theory?
Yeah, I mean, I can sense it. I can sense it happening.
Yeah.
I can sense it. Like this year is a prime example of that.
Right.
When I say this year, I actually mean the start of last year, the end of last year. I could feel something was moving somewhere, something was shifting and something was happening. But I just had to wait for that opportunity to come my way. I've dabbled with comedy for a very long time. I don't do stand-up. I've done improv, I've done radio, I've done a lot of sketches. In fact, even during the lockdown, I did a lot of videos that people enjoyed, or with RCB or whatever, right? Sometime last year during IPL, around this period last year, exactly 1 year ago, I got hold of Bob Odenkirk's memoir. It's called Comedy, Drama. And I'm a huge Bob Odenkirk fan. From the time I saw him in Breaking Bad, I watched Better Call Saul. I was really fascinated by this man and how good he was in front of the camera. So I said, okay, you need to pick your heroes sometimes.
Sure.
Like, who's your hero, right? So I said, okay, this man is someone I like. So I picked up his book and I read it. And the premise of the book is exactly my life, which is even he did comedy for many years before he got into doing drama. And when I finished the book, I said to myself, okay, I've done comedy for too long. Now I need to do something in the space of drama. And I think it was just about saying it. And the only person I said it to was my wife, because we were in the bubble together.
Right.
And I told her, baby, I feel like I need to make that switch. And she was like, yeah, I mean, see, because the films I had done before this was very interesting because I had to kind of mount it to a large extent by myself. Luckily for me, Mr. Puneet Rajkumar came into the equation. God bless his soul. One of the most beautiful people I've ever met in my life.
Oh.
He produced my last 2 films. But getting the director, writing the script, looking at little things about production. Are we doing this film in this location? If we're doing it here, why can't we do it here because it's cheaper here? How can we save money? How can we take it out there? Like when I did my first film, ours was the first Kannada film on Amazon service. And how I got there is a mind-blowing story.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I went for the MTV VJ Hunt when I was, I think, about 15 or 14. And I could talk. I know that. Weber Vishal was,
I remember Weber. very
V2
well.
was the judge there. And I finished my audition. And I remember this man walking up to me and saying, Beta, you're good, but you're too young. Finish education, finish all of that, come back, we'll figure something. And life went on. The trailer of my film came out and I got a message from Weber. So I got a message saying, I saw your trailer. It was very nice. I was like, my God, this is that same man I met many years ago and he's messaged me now. Wow. 6 years ago this is. And say I was 29. I'm talking about something that happened 15 years ago. Hats off to that man's memory. I said, wow, sir, how are you? This, that. He said, see, I couldn't do anything for you then. You tell me what you want now. So I didn't know what to ask. Like, imagine it's like a genie walking in and giving you a wish and saying, tell me what you want. What will you ask for? You don't know. I said, sir, I'm really desperately trying to meet somebody at Amazon Prime Video. I would like my film to be there so that people outside also can consume it. He said, no problem, easy. And he connected me with Vijay Subramaniam. Now look at my luck. Vijay is from Bangalore. His house is literally like 800 meters away from my house. He had heard my prank call. He said, you're a very talented guy. If you made a film, send me the trailer. He saw it. He said, this should be on our service. Come, we'll work it out. Oh
man, how cool is that?
So that's what I'm saying, right? Like it's just people coming in and sort of, doing things for you. So when I put my last 3-4 films together, it was a lot of stress. It was immense amount of stress. Then it became the film was on my shoulder.
Right.
And I don't think these shoulders are very strong yet. They're still sort of in that phase of building. So the brick bats also came my way.
There's a strong man sitting there opposite me, and I'm going to deviate just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I can remember you and me having a conversation a few years ago when you told me that in your personal life, in your mind, you were dealing with a lot of mental stuff.
Yeah.
And my goodness, look at you now. So I'm just asking, there are people who will be watching this, who are watching this.
Yeah.
And I'd like for them to harness these thoughts, to gain strength from who you are and what you've done.
No, the thing is, see, all these years, right, with whatever I went through all these years, up until last year, I'll tell you, I honestly, till the last 3 years ago, I didn't even know who I was. I was one guy doing whatever I had to do. The lockdown served as a great place for me because I actually got to sit down at home and feel my home. Anya came into my life,
right?
My wife. And see, I would have never thought I would be married at any point. It never struck my mind. Now that I am, I can tell you that it changed my life in more ways than I could imagine. But through all of this, what kept me going was I tried going to a psychologist and like speaking to a therapist where they tell you find your answers. It didn't work for me. But I met this unbelievable doctor, Dr. Annie. She's a psychiatrist and I've been seeing her now for the last 7 years. But I'm so happy when I say this right now. This is the first year where my medication has tapered down. I've gone down to just 1 tablet a day, which is phenomenal, right? Because I would have never thought I'll ever hit this space mentally. So through all of this, there was a lot of pressure, this, that. So I wanted to kind of do something else, otherwise and be a part of somebody else's vision.
Right.
I just said it to my wife. Some 3 days later, I got a call from Mr. Hansal Mehta's AD saying, listen, there's this part, we'd like you to do it. And I was like, sure, how? I didn't ask how big is the part. I didn't ask what is the part. I said, I'm in. And I went out of the bubble. I shot with him for 1 day. I came back into the bubble, quarantined myself. Then that year went by. And then towards the end of the year, I got a call from Lijo.
Right.
It's like, I'm like, wow, like sometimes you just have to, I guess, say it out. I'm not very big on this whole cock of put it out there and the universe will give. People will come. I think good people will come if you keep working hard and if you're at it.
Sure. There's one bit again that I want you to talk about. I believe you had in your college days, or was it school days?
Yeah.
You had a lot of passions. And I believe one passion really stood out. You really loved a certain art form.
Yeah.
So Tell us about it.
It's not school alone, actually, even till now. I love magic. I'm a huge magic nut. Right from PC Sarkar, Ugesh Sarkar, Gopinath Muthukad from Kerala, David Copperfield, David Blaine, Shinlim, the guy from America's Got Talent, Breaking the Magician's Code on AXN, Piff the Magic Dragon. I mean, like, I know all of them. Like, I really...
Seemingly.
Yeah. I love watching magic. How can I forget Penn and Teller?
Yeah.
Just all of them.
But you don't indulge in it.
See, I've tried, but I just think the reason I love it so much is because I can't do it. There is a finesse.
That's an interesting take. That you love it so much because
I can't do it.
You can't do it.
It's like unattainable for me. And that show, like the way they use their hands, and I've rarely... Have you ever met a magician who's got a fuck all personality?
No.
Like repulsive, you're like, get the fuck out. Never. Yeah. A magician, you're always fascinated by them. Unless you're a tick who's like, I know how you did that trick. Right? Otherwise, you're genuinely appreciative of them.
Yeah, sure.
And I've always been fascinated by magic. In fact, even now, sometimes, genuinely saying this, my wife has actually told me sometimes to get out of the room because I'll be watching some crazy trick and I'm like, baby, look at this. And she'll be sleeping and she's like, what is it? And it'll be like a chicken playing the piano or something like that, so I love magic.
It's called Happily Married.
Yeah. I love magic. In fact, I was in Vegas. I went for a magic convention.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, that is serious passion.
Yeah. I went for a magic convention just to see what they sell there and, what are the new tricks that are coming. What are big magicians doing? So, yeah, magic just gets me so happy.
So, next question's answer. Like you rightly said earlier, all of us look up to people. We have certain heroes.
Yeah.
And I'm damn tempted to ask you, are there any, 1, 2, 3, heroes in the world of magic? I'm sure you have, but any people that stand out? I'm not saying you're besotted.
Yeah.
But there are people, sometimes I certainly have people that I look at and I go, hey, he's got his stuff together.
Yeah.
I've
been very fortunate to meet people at very close quarters. And these are like people who've gone from being superstars to being icons. Virat Kohli is one of them.
Right.
I've spent so many years, 8-9 years now in the RCB camp, and I've gotten to know him as a human being. A.B. de Villiers, known him for such a long time. Mr. Puneet Rajkumar. These are all human beings that I think I'm very, very, very lucky that I've got to spend time with them in such close quarters. And to just see how they operate, how they are as human beings, how they talk to people around them, how they just take life in its, whatever it comes their way, how they've gone about it. And it's amazing. It's incredible to see such people and just be like, wow, man, this is unbelievable.
They stay real, right? In spite of achieving fame,
so
fortune,
much, yeah.
They stay real, feet on ground, head on shoulders.
Yeah, like most recently, like I told you, I'm doing that film with Lijo,
That's
Mr.
right.
Mohanlal. See, I met him, and to see that simplicity at his point in life, to still wait on set, to go out there and give it his all. Like, wow, man, these are the people that you learn from.
They are comfortable with who they are.
Yeah.
They're not trying, right?
Yeah. I really like these people.
Yeah.
These are people that you look at and you go, wow, that is some really good stuff.
Yeah. They're achievers, to say the very least. But they're so comfortable with who they are.
Very comfortable.
I know a fair few people like that. And it's such a joy. It's actually inspirational to see people like that.
Extremely. Because all of us, yes, of course. When you look at something, right? It's like I told you about magic. I can't do it. That's why I'm a fan.
Right.
And these are people that I'll never be able to, I don't think nobody on planet Earth can eclipse what any one of them have done in their fields. Very hard.
So you guys want to bet that in about 5 years from now, this guy is going to be doing magic?
Magic, I'll try.
Yeah.
I actually want to go. There's a magic school in Bangalore.
There you go.
That is run by Mr. K.S. Ramesh.
There you go.
He's in King Uncle as well. See, I know how
I'm already right.
I know.
I'm already right.
Yeah. I actually wanted to go there and learn magic.
You should.
I should, but I need to find time. If I find time, I'll really go. So,
speaking about finding time, you're very busy now with your current film. Tell us about it, man. And will you sign autographs after it's out there?
You have my phone number. Is autograph a thing really even right now? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's such a pure form of remembering someone. But I think it's kind of dead because now it's all down to selfies and they don't even upload it. They only upload it when you die. Because then you can't even defend yourself and say, I really like this person. Because they'll write whatever the fuck they want. Great guy, this, that.
If I promise.
Had a lovely conversation. You've said hi for a minute at the airport. Fuck off. I didn't talk to you.
Yeah.
And you didn't talk to me either. Unfortunately, we didn't have the time. But now don't make us best friends, bro. What?
Selfie.
Yeah.
We
know each other. Yeah, we spoke. We have 3 cameras rolling. How much more? This is video footage.
Yeah.
Which is why I never, if you look at my...
this selfie is the thing, right?
I hate it. If you look at my Instagram account, you'll see nothing personal on it. Nothing. I put up 3 pictures with my wife, thrice. And even then I was very embarrassed. We did a picture in Singapore. In fact, if you look at my phone right now, I have 0 pictures with her. She's like, but she takes the pictures. But she's not crazy. That's why I married her. She's not like a psycho. Like she'll eat the food when it gets to the table. You know what I mean? Like she won't take a picture of it and move my hand away. And she's not a psycho. She's like me. I don't know if I'm a psycho. That's what I'm saying.
I love you more and more. What can I say, man? You don't.
No, I feel like we're living in a simulation right now. What's that Jim Carrey film where The Truman Show? I feel like we're a part of the Truman Show, right? Like I sometimes feel like that. But so anyways, I don't have too many pictures. I took 1 picture with her in Singapore. I was so embarrassed to put that picture up, saying Happy New Year. I don't say it. Also, people are going to say Happy New Year to each other. Who am I? Why am I wishing people Happy New Year?
I had one guy say a really funny thing. Why are you putting it on social media? Saying Happy New Year, Happy Birthday, I love my wife so much. Just roll over and do what you have to do.
Tell her, bro.
Exactly.
Tell her.
Exactly.
So I didn't say I love you and all that obviously on Instagram because I told her. She was with me and she saw how visibly embarrassed I was. And I'm like, baby, this peer pressure. Gotta put this picture up, yeah. And she's like, listen, you don't want to do it. Please don't do it. I can see it on your face. I'm like, ah.
Now, I'm going to focus on people who think you're the other end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about what are the plans after this movie? What are the plans? I mean, where do your aspirations lie? I'm just very curious.
No, yes and. Improv. Yes and. Accept whatever comes my way. I'm having a great season this year with IPL. RCB's content is up and running. In fact, the character that I play, Mr. Nags, has been pushing for RCB to become a full-time content team that also plays cricket. Because we're not winning the trophies. Right? So Mr. Nags has announced it now, saying we're a content company that also plays cricket on the side.
I love that story about Virat and
Smriti Mandana.
Yeah, Smriti Mandana.
Yeah, that's funny. He's got a good sense of humor. Touch wood.
Yeah.
He doesn't take himself too seriously, which is, I think, how people should live their life.
True.
But anyways, you do whatever you want. Sorry if I said anything and then they shouldn't be like, why is he telling us? Do whatever you want. My mistake, I told you. I'm just saying this. I like saying all this. Disclaimers also come.
Why have you spoken to me so sweetly and so decently right through? I mean, aren't you going to do a stupid freaking accent or do some crap?
That's the other thing. That accent thing also is another thing. That also I do it at work and then I come like this, I'm off it. Like I just switch off completely from it. Because I realized at one point the performances were just going everywhere, yeah. Everywhere. You just go anywhere, people are like, perform. Like I'm not a...
No, listen, you sound best like this.
No, I thank you. I hope because I think I have a pretty decent voice.
This.
Yeah, then of course I like doing the accents and all that stuff, but I just do it. I keep
Man, you've nailed that. You've nailed that.
I enjoy it, but I do it now only when I'm working. If I'm in character or if I'm doing if I'm doing some show, whatever, I do it and after that I just get out of it. Like, you know what happens even when you do a lot of brands these days, right? Like these Instagram brands and all that stuff. They'll have like something like, we're launching a scooter. The brief is, one character asks the other character, have you heard about the scooter? And your reaction is, oh no, I don't know. I'm like, no, I know. I'm a guy with a spinal cord, a brain that's fixed there. And I read stuff. I'm intelligent. Don't test my intelligence, no. Why are you testing my intelligence? Then these brands will say, okay, you only do whatever you want or whatever. Then I'm like, okay, fine. Because fucking everything is dumbed down. Why?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Maybe the concepts I have in life, I might know what I'm saying only right now. But
listen, I got to say one thing to you. And I've known you for a fair while now. And I've seen a bit of the journey, a fair bit of the journey actually. I just want to say to you that in addition to actually, doing all you've done and continue to do, what you do maintain all along is a sense of credibility, is a sense of believability, is a sense of warmth. And I just want to say this to you, man, straight, heart to heart, honestly, Danish. Every time we've met, whether it's for 5 minutes or 55 minutes, we've had great conversations, real conversations.
Always.
And stick with that, man. You're best when you're like that.
Thank you. No,
I love it when you take the piss out of people as well. I must be honest.
Yeah, but that's all in fun and games. And I think, but that's the thing, right? I remember even when I started doing this thing with RCB many years ago, somebody had told me this saying, if you're not affable off camera, balls you're getting anything on camera. Okay, like you need to know when to draw the line. Like people will send me messages every time RCB plays a game saying, this is the playing 11. What do I do now? How much power do you think I actually have to walk up to Mike Hessin, who's the director of cricket operations, and be like, listen...
See, Mike, I think you should drop Virat.
Ramesh176 on Twitter has said, this is the playing 11.
Ramesh176.
Better do this. I can't do that, right? So you need to know when to give people that space. And I think that, especially when I think a lot of people are defined by what they do. For me, it's not that way. I was always a guy who wanted to do things, but I was always a guy who never had anything to lose.
But that's a great attitude, man.
It's fantastic to live that way. Then you're just nice. Then you don't, even when you run into people, you're constantly not saying shit like, no, I'll give you a small example, right? I've known you for now, how many years now?
I don't know, close
Whatever,
to 15.
Scratching my head that long. So, with your company Fountainhead, I had never done a show. At least I don't remember. And I'm not saying this as a complaint. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If it has to happen, it'll happen.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have to happen.
Yeah.
It's okay. But when you meet, I think that amount of...
But that's the brilliant bit, right?
But I don't know how many people get that. No, that's the problem.
But you get it and you're happy.
Yeah, I am happy.
You know, and that's
I'm very happy. Mentally right now, I'm flying.
Dude.
All rainbows and butterflies for me.
Salutations.
The moment I see something that's not making me happy,
you're gone.
Out.
Yeah.
Straight away out. If it's not working, I'm like, cut, out. Because this, somehow we have this habit of unnecessarily enduring shit.
Right.
We're not happy, there's a great way to get out. No?
Tell me something, that Fountainhead story, is it because of that you took the piss out of me at one of the award functions that we did?
No.
No, I'm kidding.
I'd have done it even if you had given me a show. Because those industry events are such the hype around them. You get to meet the industry there, and then you go and there's just a bunch of uncles drinking, and he's not even the guy who's ever going to hire you.
Why am I laughing at this?
No, you organize these events. No, because there's such a fucking misconception, that you got to be there, and then you have these MCs and singers and all just going like, hi sir, I've done like 100 shows, and that guy's like, I've done 500 shows. It's fucking never working. If that guy has to reach out to you, he'll reach out to you.
He'll reach out anyway.
He'll call you. He'll call you when he has to. Or he won't.
Yeah, sure.
Big deal. It's okay.
Sure.
There's so much in this country. I think we sometimes forget when we start getting into these echo chambers that this is a big country. There is opportunity and space for everyone. Last night I was actually talking about it. I met a guy in Amsterdam once who said, show me your Instagram, whatever. Just some conversation. I said, whatever. Fucking that time I had some 10,000 or something. I said, many years ago, 10,000, whatever. He said, oh, wow, 10,000. I said, bro, listen, in India, 10,000, you walk outside your house, 10,000 people are following what you're doing. Like, they'll just come see you and Instagram and all, 10,000 is nothing. He said, in Europe, if you hit 1 million on Instagram, it means you're truly a global superstar. Because they have only some 20,000 people in certain parts, right? In a full village, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine in India there are so many.
True.
So this it does nothing. I just come to a point where I feel nothing matters. Everything will just go on. You do one and go to the other.
Yeah, like they say, man. If you are happy and you're doing what floats your boat.
What more do you want? Yeah.
And the brilliant thing is, I'm going to use that phrase that says the universe conspires to actually give you what you want,
I don't know. Maybe it's true. I don't know. The other thing that, you meet like a lot of actors and all that stuff, they were just blessed,
Yeah.
Blessed.
Wow.
Why, bro? Like, be happy, no, you have it. Like, be normal. It's okay, you're working, it's fine. Like, blessed.
Say that again. Say that again.
Blessed. Grateful.
I was tempted to ask you the next question,
Which
and I'm
is?
wondering, which is, man, you've done loads of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, there are people out there waiting to kind of grab, opinions that you have. Is there something that principally that you'd like to share that has guided you in your journey?
Principally, is it? Yeah,
I mean,
never do wrong to someone.
right.
And be honest. Like, whatever you're doing, just be honest about it. If you can't do it, I think one of the earliest lessons I learned was, if you fuck up, own the mistake. They can't say anything more to you than you're wrong.
Right.
Like,
right.
if I make a mistake and if you tell me now, oh, you fucked up, my first reaction is not going to be to defend myself. First thing is, I'm sorry. What else will you tell me after that?
Yeah.
You can't keep like, oh, you made a mistake. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you're done, no? You have nothing else to say. Then you figure corrective action after that. So, yeah, so I think it's basically that be honest and don't I don't sort of backtrack from owning a mistake. Never. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm sorry. I'm okay doing that.
Danish, that's really a great takeout. So a couple of things. One is thank you, man.
No, welcome. Yeah, anytime.
For coming and, hanging with us and
Fun.
yeah, fun, man.
It barely felt like an interview, honestly.
Yeah,
Sorry, also I feel like I spoke a lot more than you.
We always have.
Also, that's the format of the show. Isn't it? The show is called Tellis like it is. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So I think I've done justice to...
Yeah, you have.
I have.
You
Yeah.
have.
There's
You
no
have.
like, work so hard. Yeah, very grateful. Sound like a fucking idiot.
So there you go. That's the man. And if any one of you claim that you don't know the person behind the personality, rewind, go to the start and watch it again. And I promise you another thing, that this is probably 1/10 of who the guy is. Trust me.
I agree. Yeah. This is very filtered.
Yes, it is.
I'm getting better because every time I now go out for a dinner as well, I swear to God, I'm not lying when I say this. My wife literally calls me and tells me, please, anything that you want to say, which is not supposed to be said, call me and tell me. Do not say it out there. Earlier I used to be like that. Now I've at least now I've learned, I can tell her all the...
You're a well-behaved boy.
All the rude shock value things I call her. She's shocked. She's like, she goes like, don't say that outside. And she hangs up. So I think I've kind of managed to do that. So this is reasonably filtered. I hope I've been well-behaved.
Oh, you have. Been actually alarmingly well-behaved.
Thank you.
So maybe in round 2, then, you can start to misbehave a little. Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah,
don't,
not now. Yeah. Now I'm okay.
Yeah, because then you'll be, if you're here now, you'll be...
I don't know,
I'm kidding.
This is a very Bombay thing.
I'm kidding.
The Bombay people only have made it. So, when's the next level? Like what? I'm fucking playing a game or what? Anyway, sorry, you were saying something.
No. I was just saying that it's been one of our funniest, or not say funniest, but the most fun yet kind of, educative chat. Honestly, this guy is special. Truly special. It's been a blast having him on Tellis like it is. And we're going to have a few more, so you want to stay tuned.